As the long day slowly comes to a close and the space around us grows quiet, our minds often begin to wander into softer, deeper thoughts. This is the perfect moment to listen to a calm, unhurried story, a journey that carries you away from the worries of the day and gently brings you back to a sense of peace within. Welcome to Stories for Sleep, where stories are told in a gentle voice to help you relax, let go, and slowly drift into sleep. In today's video, we will explore the theme, the most fascinating facts about Earth science to help you fall asleep. Through a thoughtful and reflective perspective, we will move slowly through stories about the planet that has nurtured life for billions of years, a place where every mountain, river, and layer of soil carries ancient memories within it. If you enjoy gentle content that helps calm the mind before sleep, take a moment to subscribe to the Stories for Sleep channel. Your support helps us continue bringing soothing stories to you each night. Now take a slow breath, relax your body, and let us begin our journey into discovering the Earth. As night falls and the sounds of the day gradually fade, the human mind often becomes more sensitive to deeper questions that we do not have time to listen to during the day. Perhaps you have once lain quietly in the darkness and wondered, what kind of planet are we living on? Beneath the ground we walk across each day, what is quietly moving? How have mountains, oceans, rain, and even the smallest particles of dust existed long before humans appeared? In that stillness, the Earth is no longer just a place we live on, but a long, ancient, and mysterious story slowly unfolding. From the perspective of Carl Jung, humans carry within themselves a deep connection to nature, as if somewhere in the depths of the mind we still remember where we came from. The Earth is not only a massive rock drifting through space, but also a symbol of nurturing, of collective memory of life formed over billions of years. When we listen to stories about this planet, we are not only learning science, but also listening to the quiet origin of ourselves. This video will take you on a gentle journey, not loud, not complicated, simply a series of fascinating facts about Earth science, told slowly, softly, like a flowing stream. You will discover how continents move, how oceans breathe, how mountains form and fade, and how everything on this planet quietly changes over spans of time so vast that we can hardly notice. Each small fact will feel like a key opening, a strange and comforting realization that everything is always moving, yet everything also has its own order. When we begin to understand the Earth, we start to feel that we belong to something much larger. And in that sense of belonging, the mind softens, as if being held in an ancient and steady embrace. Let each story in this video guide you slowly and deeply like a whisper, helping you release unfinished thoughts, gently leading you into the next part of the journey, a place where science, memory, and peace meet. Part 1. Introduction: Earth as a living system. As night slowly settles and the sounds of the long day begin to quiet, this may be the most suitable moment to see the world in a slower, deeper, and gentler way. Imagine that right beneath where you are, lying under the floor, under the soil, and deeper still, there is a living planet. Not in the sense that it has a heart or breath like a human, but in a more subtle way. It moves, it changes, it remembers, and it tells its story through stone, water, air, and time. Earth science, therefore, is not only numbers or maps, but an ancient diary written in layers of sediment, winding rivers, and winds that quietly pass through centuries. Through the reflective lens of Carl Jung, the physical world is never just material. Everything we see carries a symbolic meaning. Mountains are not only stacked layers of rock, they are memories of pressure, of time, of enormous transformations we cannot witness within a single lifetime. The ocean is not only water, it is like the deep layer of the collective mind, a place that holds ancient beginnings and unnamed dreams. And the Earth in some way feels like a mind that is dreaming yet never stops moving. This planet has never truly been still. Even in the moment you are lying quietly, continents are shifting slowly. Deep layers of rock beneath the surface are heating, cooling, and renewing themselves. Nothing is ever completely motionless. Mountains rise and slowly wear away. Oceans expand and then retreat. Deserts were once seas and fertile lands were once dry stone. All of it unfolds in a rhythm so slow that humans rarely notice. But if we listen with a calm mind, we may begin to sense it. In the same way, we feel changes within ourselves over the years, even if we cannot point to the exact moment they happened. The Earth is like that. It does not change suddenly in a single night. It transforms slowly, like a dream stretching across billions of years. Earth science then becomes a journey into memory. Not the memory of any single person, but the memory of an entire planet. Layers of rock lie upon one another like stacked pages of a book. Each layer tells of a different time when this place was once the ocean floor, when volcanoes once erupted, when rains fell for thousands of years. Without words, without sound, the Earth continues to tell its story. Jung once said that humans carry ancient images and collective memories within them, things we do not recall with the mind, but feel through intuition. Perhaps that is why when we see a river, a forest, or a mountain, we often feel a sense of familiarity that is hard to explain, as if we have known them for a long time, even if we have never been there. Perhaps it is because deep within our bodies are atoms that were once part of stone, water, and ancient air. In a way, we do not only live on the Earth, we are part of the story the Earth is telling. This planet holds its memories patiently. A single drop of water falling on stone year after year can form a cave. A thin layer of sediment gathering little by little can become a mountain after millions of years. Every change is small, yet nothing is meaningless. Everything contributes to shaping the world we live in. When we look at a stone, we may see only something lifeless. But if we look more slowly, we can imagine its journey. It was once molten lava pressed under immense force, worn down by wind and water. It has passed through transformations no living being could endure. It carries time within it. And perhaps that is what makes Earth science feel so gentle when we listen to it before sleep. It reminds us that everything moves in a slow rhythm. Nothing needs to happen in a hurry. Nothing must change all at once. Even the greatest transformations of the planet take millions of years. In the modern world, everything often feels fast. Work, news, thoughts, worries, everything keeps moving. But when we think about the Earth, we are reminded of another rhythm. A deeper, slower, steadier rhythm. The rhythm of stone forming. The rhythm of oceans rising and falling. The rhythm of time. And within that rhythm we can find peace. Imagine that the planet beneath you is like a vast body at rest. Rivers like veins carrying water across its surface. Deep layers of rock like memory holding everything that has ever happened. Winds like breath moving gently around it. Nothing is loud, nothing is rushed, only quiet movement. As you listen to this story, you do not need to understand everything. Just relax. Let your imagination guide you beneath the surface of the familiar world, beneath roads, houses, and cities, down into soil, stone, and deeper still where the planet is quietly moving. You may begin to feel a gentle connection, a sense that you are not separate from the world but resting upon it, supported by it, held within a story far greater than a day, a year, or even a lifetime. The Earth is not only a place we live, it is an ongoing process, a journey still being written second by second, minute by minute, layer by layer, rain by rain. And tonight, as you prepare to drift into sleep, you may see yourself as a small part of that journey. Your body is made from atoms that once belonged to soil, water, and air. Those atoms have passed through stars, ancient oceans, and mountains that no longer exist. You are not just lying on the Earth. You are returning to it. Let that thought pass gently through your mind. No need to analyze. No need to try to understand. Just feel the slowness, the steadiness, and the ancient strength of the planet supporting you. And as your breathing grows deeper, slower, imagine that you are beginning a journey of discovery. Not a journey far away, but a journey inward, into the story of stone, water, air, and time. A gentle journey, a slow journey, a journey that begins just beneath the surface of the familiar world. And as we continue to listen to this planet in stillness, we may begin to realize that the Earth does not only hold memory in stone, but also in the rhythm of everything happening around us. Each raindrop falling on a roof, each breeze passing by the window, each small movement of air, all are subtle signs of a living system functioning, maintaining a fragile but enduring balance. In Jung's deep perspective, the outer world always reflects the inner world. When we look at nature and feel the slow movement of the earth, we are also seeing a part of ourselves. The human mind has layers just like stone. Some memories lie near the surface, easy to recall. Others are very deep, very old, as if they existed long before we knew how to name ourselves. Perhaps that is why when we sit quietly in nature, we feel easier, lighter. Not because it is so different, but because we are returning to a rhythm the body has known for a very long time. The rhythm of soil, the rhythm of water, the rhythm of time. The earth is always changing, but its changes are rarely rushed. A mountain may take millions of years to form and just as long to wear away. A river may need thousands of years to carve a valley. The greatest things often happen in silence, in patience, and in movements almost too small to see. It is similar to the way humans grow. We do not notice ourselves changing each day, but when we look back, we see that we have changed. Calmer, deeper, gentler. All of it comes from small changes gathering over time. The Earth is the same. It did not become a living planet in a single moment. It passed through fiery, chaotic, colliding, renewing phases. It endured billions of years to become the place we live today. And even now it continues to change, to adjust, to nurture. As you lie still and listen, imagine that beneath you are layers of soil that have existed for a very long time. Those layers were once rock, once sand, once stardust. They have traveled a long journey before becoming the ground that supports you now. That thought can bring a gentle feeling, a sense of being protected. You are not floating in empty space. You are resting on a planet that has existed for so long, passed through so many changes, and continues to remain stable, patient, enduring. And perhaps when we realize this, we begin to allow ourselves to slow down. There is no need to hurry to think, no need to solve everything at once. Like the earth, everything in life has its own rhythm. Some things need time, some things need silence. Some things only become clear when we allow ourselves to rest. Let your mind drift with images of slow rivers, layers of stone resting beneath the ground, winds passing through forests in the night. Everything is moving, but in a very soft, gentle way. And in that softness, you can let yourself loosen. There is nothing you need to do. Just lie there and feel that you are a small part of a living planet. A planet that has passed through countless nights like this and will continue through countless more. A planet quietly moving, and you, in this moment, are being gently held by it. Part 2. The great forces that shape the planet. In the journey of discovering the Earth as a living being, we gradually realized that this planet was formed not only through stillness and endurance, but also through immense forces, silent and powerful, that have been at work for billions of years. When listening to this story through a contemplative lens, we may sense something very special. Even the greatest upheavals of the Earth, no matter how intense, are natural parts of its formation and growth. Like the human mind, which sometimes must pass through inner tremors to become deeper and wiser, this planet too has been shaped by powerful forces that have left their marks over time. Tsunamis, earthquakes, ancient celestial collisions, and the birth of the moon are not merely dry geological events. They are the opening chapters in the long story of the world we now call home. If we imagine traveling back billions of years, the Earth was far from peaceful. Its surface was molten. Meteorites fell like storms of fire. And in one fateful moment, a massive celestial body collided with the early Earth. From that impact, fragments of matter were thrown into space, slowly gathering to form the moon, our silent companion today. Seen through the eyes of the soul, this image feels like an ancient wound that became part of a greater beauty. From chaos, a stable structure emerged. From collision, a new balance was born. And perhaps in the depths of psychology that Jung often spoke of, this is also how humans grow. Great upheavals do not only break us, they restructure us, shaping a new and steadier version of who we are. After the Earth gradually cooled, movement beneath its surface never truly stopped. The planet's crust is not a single unbroken shell, but a collection of vast plates quietly drifting over the heated material below. The continents we see today, which seem so permanent, are in fact moving so slowly that a human lifetime cannot perceive it. Yet over millions of years, that movement has raised mountains, opened oceans, redirected rivers, and reshaped the world itself. The majestic mountain ranges did not appear in a single day. They rose little by little as continental plates collided. The earthquakes that humans feel are only brief moments in a long and slow process unfolding deep below. At times, we may feel fear when the ground trembles. But from another perspective, it is a sign that the planet is still alive, still moving, still continuing to shape itself. Like a growing body, the Earth cannot remain still. It must move, change, adjust. And within that movement are immense forces we cannot see yet that are always present. Great tsunamis, for example, are born from deep shifts beneath the ocean floor. They carry energy that has built up over long periods, then suddenly reveal themselves in a single moment. Yet even in their intensity, there is a rhythm. The waters withdraw, then return. The sea grows calm again. And the planet continues to breathe, to live, to move through its endless cycles. What is astonishing is that most of the Earth's great changes do not happen in a day, a year, or even a century. They unfold so slowly that they are almost impossible to notice. A continent drifts a few centimeters each year. A mountain grows slightly taller after each collision. A river changes course over thousands of years. All of it takes place within the infinite patience of time. And this slowness brings a deep sense of calm as we listen to the planet's story. It reminds us that not everything must happen quickly. Not every change must come in an instant. Some transformations require a long time. Some truths only become clear after many years have passed. The same is true within the human mind. Some inner changes happen very slowly. We do not notice ourselves becoming different each day. But one day, looking back, we realize we have grown calmer, deeper, more understanding. Inner tremors, though difficult, are like the earthquakes of the soul. They shift what is old, opening space for what is new. Seen this way, the Earth is not only where we live, but also a mirror, reflecting the process of change within each of us. As we lie quietly and listen to stories about the great forces that shaped this planet, we may feel small, but that smallness is not frightening. It brings a sense of relief. We do not have to carry the weight of the world. We only need to exist as a small part of this vast flow. The continents are still drifting, mountains are still changing, oceans are still moving, and all of it unfolds in a slow, steady, enduring rhythm. In the stillness of night, when all sounds fade, we can imagine that beneath us, deep within the earth, those forces are still at work, not loudly, not urgently, only patiently, and that feeling can soften the mind, because we realize that the world is not standing still yet, it is not chaotic. It is moving according to deep laws, long rhythms that humanity is only beginning to understand. And when we allow ourselves to relax and flow with that rhythm, we too begin to slow down. Breathing becomes steadier. Thoughts grow lighter. Like a continent drifting slowly, the mind moves from the noise of day into a quieter state. And in that quiet, we may feel something simple yet profound. This planet has passed through countless upheavals to become a safe place for us to rest. And even now, it continues to support us, just as it has for billions of years. When we think about the great forces shaping the Earth, we often remember only the dramatic moments: an earthquake shaking a city, a towering wave rising from the sea, or a volcano glowing red in eruption. But if we look deeper, we realize that most of the planet's story is written in patience and slowness. Millions of years pass like a long breath of the Earth. Rocks wear down little by little. Sediment quietly gathers at the ocean floor. Continents drift closer, then farther apart, like the gentle movements of a sleeping body. This reminds us of human life. Great changes do not always come from dramatic moments. Sometimes the most important things form quietly. A small thought today may become a life-changing decision tomorrow. A gentle memory may remain in the heart for years. And just as the Earth records its history in layers of stone, the human mind stores experiences in layers that build over time. If we imagine standing on a high mountain looking down at valleys and winding rivers below, everything appears still. But in truth, water is flowing, wind is moving, the land is changing little by little. Nothing is truly motionless. And that is what creates the deep beauty of this planet, a beauty that is not loud or showy, but enduring and quiet. In Jung's reflective view, the great movements of the Earth resemble the movements within the soul. There are things happening inside us that we cannot see, yet they are quietly shaping who we become. Some changes take a long time to reveal themselves. And there are continents within the mind that are slowly shifting, connecting memories, emotions, and experiences into a new inner landscape. As night falls and everything grows quiet, listening to the story of the planet can bring a gentle calm. We no longer feel rushed. We are no longer carried by the fast pace of the day. Instead, we begin to sense a slower rhythm, a deeper one, like the distant heartbeat of the Earth beneath the ground. Mountains rise and then wear away. Oceans expand and then narrow. Continents meet and separate again. Everything changes, not in a way that causes worry, but in a way that reminds us that change is natural, necessary, and part of a long journey. And perhaps as we lie down, close our eyes and let our minds drift with those slow images drifting, continents flowing, rivers, layers of stone forming over millions of years, we also begin to release our own tensions. There is no need to hurry, no need to solve everything right now. Like the Earth, we too have time to change, to heal, to grow steadier. In the stillness of night, this planet continues its story. And right now, as you rest, it is still gently holding you just as it has for billions of years. Simply breathe slowly. Relax your body and let your thoughts settle. You are moving in harmony with that ancient and peaceful rhythm. Part 3. Tectonic movement and the renewal of Earth's surface. In the stillness of night, as sounds fade and the mind drifts toward rest, imagine that beneath the ground we stand on, the Earth has never truly been at rest. Deep below our feet, vast tectonic plates are moving very slowly. So slowly that a human lifetime can hardly sense it. Yet these silent movements are what have written the long story of this planet, shaping its layers, its lines, its mountains, and its oceans. Seen through the contemplative lens of Carl Jung, this image resembles the human mind, outwardly calm, yet inside invisible currents, are quietly shaping who we become each day. Tectonic plates, which seem unmoving, are in truth immense foundations drifting over molten rock far below. They shift slowly, sometimes moving closer together, sometimes pulling apart, sometimes sliding gently past one another. When two plates collide, the land is compressed and lifted, forming towering mountain ranges. Over time, these mountains become symbols of strength and endurance. But if we look more deeply, we see that they are born from pressure, from collision, from movement over millions of years. This can remind us of human life. There are moments when we feel pressured, stretched, placed between choices and changes. Yet sometimes those very pressures create the mountains within our souls, the experiences that help us grow stronger, deeper, and more grounded. Like the Earth, change is not always loud. Often, it unfolds so slowly that we only recognize it when we look back. Beneath the ocean floor, where light rarely reaches, powerful activity continues each day. Most of the Earth's volcanoes are not on land, but deep beneath the sea. Their molten magma rises, cools, and forms new crust. Little by little, the surface of the planet is renewed. What is old sinks away. What is new quietly forms. No loud sounds, no display, only a steady and endless process. In Jung's view, this resembles how the human mind heals and renews itself. Some memories sink deeper, new thoughts appear, some emotions are released, new parts of us begin to form. All of it happens naturally like a quiet current, and often in stillness we are changing the most. Even the tallest mountains do not remain forever in their original form. Wind, rain, ice, and time slowly wear them down. Rock becomes sand. Sand flows into rivers, then into the sea, gathering into new layers. Over millions of years, those materials may be compressed and lifted again, becoming new mountains. A cycle without end, a continuous renewal of the Earth's surface. And if we listen carefully, we may realize that this cycle also exists in our own lives. What seems lost does not truly disappear. It changes form and becomes part of us in a different way. An old memory becomes understanding. An old sorrow becomes compassion. A difficult experience becomes the foundation of growth. The earth never stands still, yet its movements are so slow that they bring a sense of peace. Nothing is rushed. Nothing must be finished immediately. Everything has its own time. Mountains take millions of years to form. Oceans take countless centuries to change shape. And the planet patiently continues its story little by little, moment by moment. When we think of this, our hearts may grow lighter. Not every change must happen today. Not every question needs an answer right now. Like the tectonic plates, we too are moving in our own way. Slowly, quietly, yet always moving forward. Imagine yourself lying still, and beneath you, deep in the earth, the plates continue to drift. Mountains are still rising. New layers of rock are still forming beneath the ocean floor. This planet is still alive, still changing, still renewing itself. And so are you. With each slow breath, each moment of rest, your body and mind are also healing, reorganizing, renewing. There is a deep sense of safety in realizing that we are part of this planet, that the slow rhythm of the earth is also the rhythm deep within us. There is no need to hurry. No need to force anything. Just listen, relax, and allow everything to unfold naturally. And as the night grows deeper, let these images pass gently through your mind. Drifting land forming mountains, new layers of rock being born beneath the sea. A long, long story continuing without needing to be seen. A story of patience, of change, of endless renewal. In that stillness, you may feel a deep peace, as if the whole planet is breathing softly, and you are simply resting in its embrace, gently, slowly drifting into sleep. As we continue reflecting on the movement of tectonic plates, we begin to realize that the planet is not merely a giant rock in space, but more like a body breathing very slowly. Layers of crust are created and then sink again. Mountains rise and then are worn away. Nothing remains fixed forever, yet nothing truly disappears. Everything changes form and continues within an endless circle. Somewhere far away, two tectonic plates are slowly moving toward each other. No one sees them, no one hears them, yet pressure builds, and over millions of years a new mountain range will be born. One day those mountains may shelter forests, streams, and life. All of it begins with a movement so small and slow, it is almost invisible. This reminds us of changes within the human mind. Small thoughts, quiet feelings, almost unnoticed, yet over time they gather and shape who we become. A small idea may grow into a great dream. A small experience may become a deep memory. And like the earth, all transformation takes time. Rain falling on mountains slowly erodes stone drop by drop. One drop seems too small to matter. Yet over thousands and millions of years, those patient drops carve valleys, form rivers, shape entire landscapes. Change does not always come from great force. Sometimes it comes from gentle repetition. Life may be the same. Small things we do each day, the moments we rest, breathe, and listen to ourselves slowly create deep change. We do not need to see results immediately. We only need to trust that everything is unfolding, just as the earth quietly renews its surface. Deep beneath the sea, where darkness nearly covers everything, new crust is still being formed. Molten rock meets cold water, cools into stone, and expands the planet's surface. A slow, steady process, almost no one witnesses, yet it keeps the earth new, alive, and changing. If we listen with imagination, we might feel this movement like the slow heartbeat of the planet. Not loud, not hurried, just deep, steady, and strong. And as we lie down, relax, and close our eyes, we begin to move with that rhythm. Everything feels lighter when we realize the world does not need us to control it. The earth has moved through billions of years on its own. Mountains have risen and vanished. Oceans have expanded and narrowed. Continents have separated and joined again. Everything happens naturally, without haste, without force. And we can allow ourselves to be the same. Allow ourselves to slow down. Allow ourselves not to understand everything right now. Allow ourselves to rest in simple peace. Imagine that beneath you, deep within the earth, tectonic plates are still drifting slowly. Somewhere, mountains are forming. Elsewhere, old mountains are softening into sand, becoming soil, beginning a new journey. Everything continues, everything moves, and you in this moment are a small part of that long flow. There is nothing more you need to do, nothing more you need to think about. Just lie still, relax, and let the story of the planet gently carry you deeper into quiet. Part 4. The connection between land, sea, and air. In the quiet of the night, as sounds fade and breathing grows slower, we can begin to feel the world in a different way, not as separate pieces, but as a living body breathing softly. Land, sea, and air do not exist apart from one another. They weave together like invisible currents, gentle yet enduring. This planet is not still but a system in constant motion where every grain of dust, every drop of water, every breeze carries a long story of connection. Imagine a volcano awakening somewhere far away. From deep within the earth, ash and smoke rise high, carried by winds across vast distances. Those tiny particles may travel thousands of kilometers before settling into the sea, blending with the water, bringing minerals the ocean needs. There they become nourishment for the smallest forms of life, beings too small to see. And from them, life spreads, feeding fish, coral, and entire ecosystems. Elsewhere, winds from deserts carry fine dust across oceans, gently falling into rainforests, bringing nutrients from dry lands to lush green places. Thanks to those tiny grains, the soil becomes richer, trees grow stronger, forests continue to breathe. A harsh land quietly supports a living one. A distant place gently sustains another. If we look deeper, nothing truly stands alone. Everything gives and receives. Air carries moisture from the sea inland. Clouds form and fall as rain, feeding rivers and forests, then flowing back to the ocean. A quiet circle, without beginning or end. Ocean currents move like the slow veins of the planet, carrying warmth, salt, and nutrients from one region to another. Warm waters move toward cold places, bringing life. Cold waters return, maintaining balance. Though unseen, these movements happen every moment. The air above moves the same way. Winds carry warmth, coolness, the scent of forests, the breath of oceans. They pass through distant places and return again. And when we breathe in a part of the world, a part of the ocean, a part of forests, a part of distant mountains. In a deep way, we are part of that cycle. Carl Jung once said that humans are not separate from nature, but part of it. Within each of us are ancient rhythms. We do not always notice the rhythm of breath, of sleep, of waking. These rhythms are like currents within the mind, carrying emotions, memories, and sensations from place to place. Like the planet, the human mind is never truly still. It moves, connects, exchanges. A small thought leads to a feeling leads to a memory, and that memory quietly nourishes another part of us. When we understand that everything is connected, we feel less alone. dust from a desert can travel halfway across the earth to nourish a forest. A warm current can bring life to a cold sea. And here in the stillness of night we are supported by these invisible cycles. Nothing stands completely alone. Nothing is truly separate. Even as we lie still, doing nothing, our bodies continue to exchange with the world. We breathe in air that has passed through forests, oceans, distant lands. We breathe out, and that breath becomes part of the air again, continuing its journey. The planet works like a vast circulatory system. Land, sea, and air constantly exchange with one another. Everything moves, changes, merges, and separates again. And within this cycle, life is nourished, protected, continued. Thinking of this can bring a deep sense of peace. There is no need to understand everything, no need to control everything. We are part of something far greater, where all things unfold naturally. Imagine your body as part of this connection. Your heartbeat slowing, your breath softening, like the ocean rising and falling with the tide, like the wind moving across the night sky. There is no need to hurry, no need to try. Somewhere a current is quietly moving. Somewhere a cloud is forming. Somewhere a breeze is carrying dust to another land. And here in this stillness you are surrounded by all these gentle movements. Let your mind drift with these currents. Do not hold on to any thought. Do not cling to anything. Let everything come and go like the wind. The world is breathing. The planet is breathing. And you are breathing with it. Each breath grows slower. Each thought settles. Each feeling softens. And in this gentle connection, you can slowly relax your body, relax your mind, and drift deeper into stillness. If we listen slowly, we may realize that the connection between land, sea, and air is much like the connection between the deepest parts of the human soul. In Jung's view, invisible currents move within the mind just like ocean currents beneath the sea. They carry memories, emotions, and ancient images stored in the collective unconscious. Like the planet, our minds never truly stand still. They move, change, adapt, always seeking balance. Imagine each thought as a small grain of dust drifting in the air. It appears quickly, then gently fades. Some thoughts carry warmth like a warm current. Others pass like a cool night breeze. All are natural parts of the flow. You do not need to hold them. You do not need to push them away. Just let them pass like clouds moving across the sky. In the stillness of night, when everything outside grows quiet, we can feel the slow rhythm of the world more clearly. Far away, waves are still touching the shore. Winds are still moving through forests. Water is still flowing beneath the ground, and your body is moving with that rhythm. Your heart beats softer, your shoulders relaxed, your breath deeper. You do not need to do anything more. There is no need to try to fall asleep. Just remain in the feeling of being gently supported by a planet quietly moving around you. You are lying on the earth, and the earth is holding you in a natural, steady way. Just as land nourishes forests, oceans nourish clouds, and air nourishes life, sleep is coming gently to nourish your mind. It does not arrive in a rush. It comes like a slow wave, deep and calm. And as you allow yourself to relax fully, you will feel yourself drifting with that flow. The world continues to move, but you can rest. The planet continues to turn, but you can relax. Everything is connected, and you are part of that gentle connection. Part 5. The Earth's core and the invisible shield. In a place far beneath our feet, so deep that no human could ever reach it, the Earth is quietly moving and protecting life in ways we rarely think about. The molten metal core at the center of the planet is not merely a massive mass of material, but something like an invisible heart beating slowly for billions of years. From those silent movements, an invisible shield is created. The Earth's magnetic field gently surrounding the planet, protecting all life from powerful streams of radiation coming from the sun and deep space. We cannot see it, we cannot hear it, yet it is always there, embracing, sheltering, and keeping the atmosphere from being swept away, allowing life to continue in peace. From the perspective of science, the magnetic field is the result of liquid metal moving deep within the core, creating electric currents and invisible forces. But if we listen with a quiet mind, another image begins to appear, a planet protecting itself silently, preserving everything that lives upon its surface. In some way, this echoes the deeper layers of the human mind that Carl Jung once described, unseen yet powerful forces, inner protections, that help us face the world without being swept away by its pressures and disturbances. You may never have thought that each night as you lie down, as your body relaxes and your breath slows, you are being protected by an invisible shield surrounding the entire planet. Streams of radiation from the sun continue to pass through space. Currents of energy from the cosmos continue to move endlessly. But the Earth's magnetic field, like a vast and gentle shield, bends them, softens them, and keeps the sky above calm and clear. Sometimes traces of this protection appear as shimmering lights near the poles, the auroras, waves of green, violet, and red light, dancing across the night sky like a slow song of space. It is where solar energy meets the Earth's magnetic field, where a collision does not create destruction but beauty. In a deeper sense, this resembles the way the human mind processes emotional encounters. Powerful experiences do not always destroy us. Sometimes, when filtered through the deeper layers of the unconscious, they become memories, lessons, and a quiet kind of beauty. Carl Jung once said that within each person there are deep layers we are not fully aware of yet. They constantly shape how we feel and exist. The Earth's magnetic field is like that. We cannot see it, but because of it, the atmosphere is held in place, water remains, and temperatures stay stable enough for life to grow. It is a silent protection, a steady support we rarely notice until we pause and listen slowly. Imagine that, deep beneath the ground where you are lying there, is an ocean of molten metal in motion. No one hears its sound. No one feels its heat. Yet it is there creating gentle movements that protect the entire planet. If we allow this thought to spread through the mind, it can bring a deep sense of safety. You are resting on a world that is not only existing but actively caring for itself. It is much like the human mind, where the deepest parts often work quietly without us realizing. There are mechanisms within the soul that try to keep us balanced, to keep us steady even when we are not thinking about them. Memories, experiences, dreams all quietly form a kind of inner protection helping us face life each day. When we look up at the night sky and see the auroras, it is not only a physical phenomenon, it is a sign of a silent dialogue between the Earth and space, between what is inside and what is outside, between life and distant streams of energy. And in some way, the human mind is always holding similar dialogues, between consciousness and the unconscious, between what we know and what we do not yet understand, between light and depth within us. The magnetic field holds the atmosphere in place, holds the air we breathe, holds the warmth we need to live. Without it, the solar wind could slowly sweep away the protective gases, leaving the planet dry and cold. Yet for billions of years, this invisible shield has remained quietly doing its work. It reminds us gently that the most important things in life are often invisible. Safety, trust, peace. These feelings are like the magnetic field, without clear form, yet powerful in their support. When you feel sheltered, when you feel held within a familiar space, your body naturally relaxes, your heart slows, your breath deepens, your mind softens. And now as you listen to this story, perhaps you can begin to feel an invisible layer of calm surrounding you. Not something you can see or touch, but a quiet sense that everything is in its place, that the planet is still turning, still protecting, still sustaining life. You do not need to do anything. Just lie still and let the thought of a world quietly caring for itself bring a gentle comfort. Imagine the molten metal deep beneath the earth, moving slowly. Imagine the auroras quietly dancing far away. Imagine the invisible magnetic field wrapping around the planet like a gentle embrace. And then feel that just as the Earth has its own protection, you also have protective layers within yourself. The deeper parts of your mind are always trying to keep you safe, balanced, and steady in the face of change. Tonight you may allow yourself to believe that everything is all right, that there are forces greater than you quietly working to keep the world in balance, that you are being supported by a planet that has existed for billions of years and is still caring for life in its own gentle way. As this thought slows, as the images of deep movements within the earth grow softer, you may notice your mind beginning to settle as well, like small waves calming on the surface of water, making space for stillness. And in that stillness, sleep can come naturally, not hurried, not forced, just a gentle release, like the way the earth continues to turn in space, slowly, steadily, peacefully. As you continue to lie quietly in this stillness, you may begin to feel something simple yet profound, that everything around you is moving according to a rhythm that is slow, steady, and patient. The Earth's core does not hurry. The magnetic field is not loud. The protection of life does not need to announce itself. Everything unfolds silently like an ancient lullaby the planet has been singing for billions of years. If we look a little deeper, we realize that this invisible stability has allowed trees to grow, oceans to remain, and the earliest forms of life to appear. Because of the magnetic shield, the fragile molecules of early life were not torn apart by violent radiation. Because of this protection, water remained on the planet, clouds formed, and life had the chance to begin, grow, and evolve. In a deep sense, the magnetic field protects not only the present, but the future. Carl Jung once spoke of a hidden center within each person, a place that keeps us from falling apart in times of upheaval. A quiet, deep place we can return to when we feel tired. And if we listen with a gentle heart, we may see that image reflected in the planet itself. The Earth's core, hot and always in motion like an ancient center sustaining life across the entire surface. A silent yet steady heart. Perhaps that is a comforting thought before sleep, that we are living on a world far less fragile than it sometimes seems. It has endured cosmic collisions, violent transformations, harsh ages beyond imagination. And still it is here, still turning, still protecting, still nurturing life in a patient way. When we realize this, the mind begins to slow. Today's worries, unfinished thoughts, seem a little smaller. Not because they do not matter, but because they are placed within a larger, deeper space. A space where everything has time to change, to soften, to find balance again. Imagine yourself lying on the surface of a protected planet. Beneath you, slow movements of molten metal. Around you, an invisible shield quietly guarding. Above you, the deep night sky where streams of solar energy pass without reaching you. All of it creates a vast sense of safety and steadiness. Your breath may deepen slightly. Your heart may slow. Your body may relax just a little more. You do not need to try. Just listen. Let these images flow through your mind like a gentle stream. There are protections in life we cannot see, supports we do not always notice, but they are there. And sometimes simply remembering that we are supported is enough to make us feel lighter. For billions of years, the Earth has protected life through these quiet mechanisms. And tonight, as you drift toward sleep, you too are wrapped in all these silent things. A turning planet, a magnetic field shielding, an atmosphere holding warmth, a vast space quietly embracing every resting being. In this moment, you may allow yourself to release the final thoughts of the day. No need to hold them. No need to analyze them. Just let them drift the way the magnetic field gently guides distant streams of energy. Let your mind grow still like a lake when the wind stops. Let your body sink into the softness of the bed. And remember that just as the Earth has a center that keeps it steady, you too have a deep place within a peaceful, quiet place, always ready to welcome you back. As the last thoughts become faint, as the space around you grows quieter, you may feel a gentle sensation, the feeling of being protected, supported, allowed to rest. And then, very naturally, you may begin to drift into sleep. Part 6. The traces of deep time in stone. If we hold a broad, small stone in our hand, silent and seemingly lifeless, it is hard to imagine that it carries a story older than all human memory. Within its stillness lie layers of time stacked upon one another, traces of ages no living being remains to recount. And when we look deeply into that stone with the eyes of science and with gentle contemplation, we begin to realize that stone is not merely matter, it is memory, an ancient, deep and enduring memory. Some meteorites that have fallen to Earth are older than the sun itself. Before this planet formed, before there were oceans, before there was blue sky or life, those materials existed in space, drifting through darkness and light, carrying traces of the earliest moments of the solar system. When they fell to Earth, they were not just distant rocks. They were messengers from the past. They carried information about how planets were born, about the first chemical reactions, about the early conditions of the universe, closer to us than we ever imagined. When a meteorite strikes the Earth, it is a violent moment. Heat, light, immense energy burst in an instant. But over time, the surface traces of that impact can fade. Mountains erode, soil shifts, plants grow and cover the marks. If we only look with our eyes, we might never know that two worlds once touched at that place. But the stone remembers. Beneath the ground, within crystal structures, within chemical compositions, delicate signs remain. Elements compressed together. Minerals formed under extreme heat and pressure. Tiny changes in structure detectable only by careful tools. It is like a quiet whisper from the past, gently saying, "Something powerful once happened here." In some way, this is very much like the human mind. Jung once said that our deepest experiences, even long after they pass, leave traces in the unconscious. We may no longer remember clearly, but they remain quietly shaping how we see the world. In the same way, the Earth carries the memory of collisions, transformations, and trials. Even when the surface changes, the deeper story remains. Stones and minerals are the most faithful keepers of time. Each layer forms under different conditions. Some beneath ancient oceans, some from molten lava, some compressed for millions of years under mountain pressure. When scientists study these layers, they do not only see matter, they see a diary. One layer tells that this place was once a sea, another that it was once a desert, another carries traces of ancient life, and all these stories are written not in words but in structure, color, and chemistry. Thinking of this before sleep brings a gentle feeling. The world we live in is not a brief moment. It is the result of a very long journey. Every mountain, every valley, every small stone has passed through millions, even billions of years to be here. Some stones were once part of ancient continents, broken apart, carried away, compressed, and lifted again as mountains. Some minerals lay deep in darkness before slowly rising to the surface through the planet's movements. All carry stories longer than any history humans have written. Jung often said that within each person there is a kind of deep time as well. Ancient instincts, emotions, primal images, traces of a long journey of life. And when we look at stone, we see a reflection of ourselves, a part of matter that has passed through time, a part of memory kept in silence. Meteorites, stones, minerals, all tell a story of endurance. Not loud endurance, but patient existence. Billions of years pass, and they remain, changed, reshaped, but never truly gone. Like memory, like the deep layers of the soul. As you lie still and imagine this, you may begin to feel time itself slowing. Today's worries, tomorrow's thoughts, become smaller within the endless flow of time. Imagine touching an ancient stone. It was here before you were born. It will remain long after you are gone. And in that silence, there is a special kind of peace. A sense that not everything needs to hurry. Not everything needs to change at once. The time of stone is the time of patience. And as we move with that slow rhythm, the mind softens. Notice your breath now, lighter, slower, like the formation of stone, little by little, moment by moment, building something strong. No need to hurry, no need to try, just exist, just rest. Beneath you is a planet that remembers everything. Collisions, changes, beginnings and endings. And you, in this moment, are part of that story. A small part, but a real one. Perhaps that is a gentle thought to carry into sleep. You are lying on a world that has lived through countless ages. A world that has learned to keep its memories in stone, in minerals, in every layer of soil. And you are supported by all those ancient things. Everything is slowing. Time feels softer. And you can let yourself drift with that rhythm, gently, deeply, like a stone resting after a long journey. As we continue listening to the story stone tells, we begin to realize that time is not only something that passes, but something that settles. Each sediment layer beneath the ground is like a page stacked upon another, recording an era none of us witnessed. There were ages when oceans covered lands now desert, times when volcanoes filled the sky with ash, and long, quiet periods when wind, water, and light slowly reshaped the surface. Ancient stones found today are like clocks without hands. They do not measure minutes or hours, but millions of years. A crack in stone may be the trace of an earthquake long ago. A color within a mineral may be evidence of heat and pressure deep within the earth. And all of it remains quietly, without hurry, without needing attention. Thinking of this before sleep, the mind begins to slow with it. The worries of the day, the unanswered questions, unfinished thoughts, all grow lighter beside the vast timeline of the Earth. This planet has passed through countless changes, countless upheavals, and still remains, still steady, still holding life. There is deep comfort in that. Beneath your feet is a foundation formed over billions of years, and like stones compressed over time to grow stronger, the human mind also grows through experience. Jung once said that what is deepest in us is not on the surface. It lies in the layers beneath, where memory, instinct, and ancient images live together. And when we look at stone, we see a symbol of that depth, something ancient, enduring, silent, always present. Perhaps that is why, standing before mountains, cliffs, or even small pebbles, we feel something hard to name, something familiar and unfamiliar at once. As if we are touching a past we never lived yet somehow belong to. And now as you listen, you may feel that stillness too. A deep stillness, as if everything has paused. No hurry, no pressure, only slow breathing and the feeling of being supported by a world that existed long before we appeared. Let the image of those ancient layers remain in your mind. Layers of stone beneath the ground holding the memory of the planet, and you in this moment lying still, relaxed like a small part of that long flow. No need to think further, no need to search for answers. Just let your body grow heavier like a small stone resting after a long journey, and in that quiet sleep may come naturally, gently, like time itself moving across the earth over billions of years. Part 7. The atmosphere, climate, and the formation of life. When we think about the atmosphere, about the air that surrounds the Earth each day, we usually experience it as something familiar and almost invisible. We breathe without thinking. We walk without noticing that every breath we take is the result of a journey that has lasted billions of years. But if we slow down and listen to the story hidden within that thin layer of air, we begin to see that the atmosphere is not just air. It is a living part of the planet's history, a layer of memory embracing all life. In the beginning, the Earth did not have the blue sky we see today. There were no drifting white clouds, no gentle winds, no air that could be easily breathed. The atmosphere formed from endless volcanic eruptions from the hot interior of the Earth, releasing gas and steam. The sky may have been dark red or grey, heavy with unfamiliar gases. There was no oxygen, no softness of the air we know. It was a distant world, yet it was the beginning of everything. In that chaos, molecules rose, spread, combined, and changed. Time moved slowly. Not years as humans feel them, but millions upon millions of years. And somewhere in the ancient oceans, the first tiny forms of life appeared. They were not as we imagine life today, just simple structures, but they began to change the atmosphere itself. One of the greatest changes in Earth's history was the appearance of oxygen. What we now take for granted, the air we breathe, was once completely unfamiliar. Ancient organisms, through photosynthesis, slowly released oxygen into the atmosphere. At first, it was absorbed quickly, reacting with iron in the oceans and rocks on the surface. But over time, oxygen began to accumulate. This did not happen in a day, a year, or a century. It was a long, patient process. And eventually, oxygen became abundant enough to transform the planet. Some ancient life forms could not survive the new conditions and faded away. But others adapted, grew, and opened the path for more complex life. From that transformation, a new world began. Thinking about this, we may see a gentle reflection of the human mind as Jung described it. Inside each person are invisible atmospheres, formed from experiences, memories, and all we have lived through. At first, they may feel chaotic, like unnamed emotions. But over time, they settle, transform, and create a more stable inner space. The Earth's atmosphere never stands still. It constantly interacts with land, water, and light. Climate forms from this connection. Rain falls from the sky, seeps into the soil, flows to the sea. Water rises again as vapor carrying heat and movement. Ocean currents quietly move energy across the planet. Mountains, seas, ice, deserts, all are part of a great cycle without a clear beginning or end. It is within this constant interaction that life can exist. If the climate were too cold, water would freeze and everything would fall silent. If too hot, water would vanish and life would become fragile. Yet somehow the Earth finds balance. It shifts, it changes, but always returns to conditions where life can continue. This brings a deep sense of calm. Life does not exist because of one single thing, but through the delicate harmony of many. Air, water, land, light, all connected like parts of a great living body. And as you lie down preparing for sleep, you are within that embrace. Every breath you take is the result of billions of years of change. Every heartbeat is your body responding to the world around it. You are not separate from the atmosphere, from the climate, from the planet. You are part of it, just as the earliest living beings once shaped the ancient air. Jung once said that humans carry deep memories we are not always aware of. Perhaps the peace we feel when breathing slowly, when feeling wind on our skin, when hearing rain comes from an ancient connection with the planet. A familiarity very deep, very old, yet always present. The atmosphere is not only air, it is protection. It shields the earth from harsh radiation, holds warmth, and creates the conditions for life to grow. Like an invisible embrace, always there, whether we notice or not. Thinking of this may bring a gentle sense of safety. You are not existing in emptiness. You are surrounded, supported, protected by a system that has worked for billions of years. And just as the atmosphere changed slowly to make life possible, the human mind also changes over time, learning to adapt, to heal, to grow. Climate, too, is not fixed. It shifts and moves. Sometimes warm, sometimes cold, sometimes calm, sometimes stormy. But these changes create richness, diversity, and the human mind has seasons as well. Bright days and cloudy days, peaceful times and turbulent ones. Yet just as the planet continues to turn and rebalance itself, the mind also finds its way back to steadiness. Sometimes all we need is a moment of quiet. A moment to breathe deeply, to feel the air moving in and out, and to realize that we are supported by a vast, patient, gentle world. And now, as you lie there, you may begin to feel your breath more clearly. No need to change it. Just notice it. Each breath is a connection between you and the ancient atmosphere formed by volcanoes, oceans, and the first tiny lives. You are not only breathing air, you are breathing history, a part of the planet. A part of life gathered over countless ages, and with that gentle awareness, the body relaxes more. The mind slows. Thoughts drift away like clouds passing across the sky. No need to hold them. No need to follow them. Just let them pass. Like the atmosphere, moving yet balanced, you can let everything flow without holding on. And in that letting go, a quiet calm begins to spread, gentle, slow, soft, like a night breeze. As we continue listening to the silent story of the atmosphere, we begin to see it as the shared breath of the entire planet. Winds move across oceans, forests, mountains, and fields carrying moisture scent, traces of distant places. Each breeze is a journey, an invisible connection between faraway lands. Somewhere rain has just fallen. The droplets soak into the soil, nourish plants, flow into streams, then rivers, then back to the sea. From the sea, water rises again, becoming clouds, becoming rain. This cycle continues endlessly, like a slow and gentle melody the earth has always been playing. Climate is not still. It is the result of countless interactions. Sunlight touches the ground. The ground releases heat. Water rises as vapor. Winds move. All blend into a vast, complex system. We may not see it all at once, but we feel it in cool air, in gentle rain, in a calm evening breeze. And it is through these changes that life has taken shape. There were times when ice covered much of the planet, times when warmth spread forests across the land. Each change invited life to adapt, slowly, quietly, step by step. Perhaps the human mind works the same way. Experiences, feelings, thoughts are like winds and rain inside us. Sometimes they stir us, but over time the mind learns balance just as the planet does. And now as you lie here, you are within that atmosphere. Each breath connects you to forests, oceans, and lives that came before. A thin, real thread, tying you to the vast world outside. This awareness may bring a gentle peace, a sense of belonging, a sense that you are supported by something ancient and enduring. And now everything slows. You can simply remain here and breathe. No need to think, no need to understand. The planet is breathing with you. The atmosphere is moving. The wind is traveling far away. Everything continues in a quiet rhythm. Your body has its own rhythm. Your heart, your breath, relaxation spreading from shoulders to arms to legs. Everything softer, slower. And in that stillness, just as the planet calms after storms, your mind can settle. No need to do anything. Just let everything drift, like clouds, like wind. Somewhere far away, the earth continues to turn. The atmosphere continues to move. The climate continues to change. Life continues quietly and steadily. You only need to rest and allow yourself to be held in that peace. Part 8. The Rock Cycle. In the stillness of night, as sounds fade and the mind begins to slow, a very ancient story is quietly unfolding beneath our feet. It is the story of stone, not loud, not hurried, with no clear beginning and no certain end. Only a long, deep, patient journey beyond human imagination. When we think of rock, we often imagine something hard, unmoving, eternal. But if we look deeper, we realize that stone is never truly still. It lives within a cycle that is slow, deep, and endlessly patient. Imagine a piece of granite deep within the earth, born from molten magma millions, even billions of years ago. As the magma cooled, it crystallized into solid rock, eventually becoming part of mountains. Over time, the Earth's crust lifted it upward until it reached the surface where wind, rain, and sunlight touched it each day. Then time began its quiet work. Not in a day, not in a year, but over stretches so long that the human mind can barely sense them. Rain fell, seeping into tiny cracks. Wind carried sand that brushed the surface. Heat expanded the rock. Cold contracted it. Repeated thousands, millions of times, the stone slowly cracked, broke apart, became smaller pieces. Those pieces continued their journey, carried by rivers, rolling across distant lands, colliding, wearing down, becoming smoother, smaller. Eventually they settled as sand, as mud, as layers of sediment resting at the bottom of rivers, lakes, and seas. But the journey did not end there. Over time, those layers were buried deeper. Pressure grew. Heat increased. Grains of sand bonded together, forming sandstone. Layers of mud became shale. If buried even deeper under greater heat and pressure, they transformed again limestone, becoming marbles slowly reshaped within the earth. And somewhere deep below, heat might grow so strong that rock melts again. Once more it becomes magma. And from that magma, if it rises and cools, new rock forms. Basalt from flowing lava. Obsidian volcanic glass when lava cools too quickly to crystallize. Rock is never still. It moves, changes, renews itself. Not in a simple circle, but in a complex web. Granite becomes sand. Sand becomes sedimentary rock. Sedimentary rock becomes metamorphic rock. Metamorphic rock melts into magma. And from magma, new rock is born. Each kind of stone is like a quiet diary of the planet. Granite tells of slow cooling deep below. Basalt tells of fiery eruptions. Obsidian holds the memory of sudden cooling. Marble tells of limestone transformed by heat and pressure into something smooth and luminous. If we listen with imagination, every stone is telling a story. Not with words, but with texture, color, and pattern. The veins in marble record pressure and heat. The crystals in granite speak of slow cooling. The layers in sedimentary rock mark seasons, years, ages of accumulation. In a deeper sense, the rock cycle mirrors the inner journey of the human soul. Jung spoke of deep layers within each person, where memories, experiences, and emotions gather over time. They do not disappear. They transform. They are buried. They are reborn in new forms. Like stone, humans are always changing. Old experiences may wear down like mountains under wind and rain. Memories may settle deep like sediment. And under the pressure of life they transform, shaping the way we see the world. The rock cycle is never hurried. It moves in a slow rhythm, and that slowness brings peace. When we think of mountains that have stood for millions of years, stones that existed before humanity, today's worries seem a little smaller. Perhaps you are lying there now, imagining a distant mountain, small stones resting at its base, wind moving across its slopes, clouds drifting above, and deep below, invisible forces still working quietly, endlessly. All of this happens without being seen. Without needing anyone to push it forward. Just a natural rhythm that has continued for billions of years. And within that rhythm, there is something that feels like your own breathing. Slow, steady, quiet. You do not need to do anything for stone to continue its cycle. And you do not need to do anything for your body to continue breathing. Everything is unfolding naturally. Realizing this may bring a sense of being supported, that you are not alone. Beneath your feet is a whole world, moving, changing, holding the memory of time. The rock cycle has no clear beginning, no final end, only continuation, transformation, renewal. And in that continuation, you may allow your mind to slow as well. No need to think too much, no need to search for answers. Just feel that everything is moving in its own way. That, like stone, you too are on a journey that does not need to hurry. Just breathe softly and let the peace spread slowly like layers of sediment, settling over time, deep and quiet. And as we think a little more deeply, the rock cycle carries a gentle message about the patience of the earth. Nothing in that journey happens quickly. A mountain does not rise overnight. A river does not carve a valley in one season. Everything takes time. So much time that in one human life the changes are almost invisible. But change is always there. A grain of sand may once have been part of a vast mountain. A pebble by a river may once have lain deep in molten earth. A slab of marble in a building may have passed through hundreds of millions of years of heat and pressure before reaching the human world. Time does not just pass, it shapes everything. And in the quiet of night, as you lie there, you too can allow yourself to slow. Nothing needs to hurry. Mountains do not hurry. Rivers do not hurry. Stones do not hurry. You can allow yourself to slow down as well. Imagine a stone resting by a riverbank. Water flows past it day after day, season after season, year after year. the stone simply remains, not resisting, not trying to change, just existing within the flow. Over time, it becomes smoother, rounder, gentler, not because it tries, but because it allows time to do its work. Perhaps in this moment you can allow yourself the same. No need to think, no need to control everything. Just relax and let time, like water, gently carry away what still lingers in the mind. The rock cycle continues deep within the earth, out there in the quiet night. And you, in this moment, are part of this planet. A small part, but a real one. Supported by the ground, surrounded by air, warmed by your own breath. Everything is very still. And like layers of stone settling over millions of years, you too can slowly settle, a little slower, a little deeper, gently drifting into stillness, where the mind can rest, where thoughts soften like grains of sand settling at the bottom of a quiet river. Part 9. Landscapes always changing. If we stand for a long time beside a river in silence, we begin to notice that no drop of water ever remains. The current flows on, carrying sand, taking small pieces of earth with it, quietly redrawing the shape of the riverbank day by day. A new bend forms a stretch of bank, crumbles away, an old channel slowly disappears. And after many years, the river may change direction entirely, flowing toward a different place, as if it were searching for a new path in the long dream of the earth. But within a single human lifetime, it is difficult to notice such change. The landscapes around us seem steady, unchanging, as if they have always been this way and will remain so. The hill before our eyes, the forest in the distance, the road leading to the sea, all carry a feeling of familiarity, of stability. And it is this sense of stability that makes us believe the world does not change. Yet if we look a little deeper with a slow and gentle imagination, we begin to see that every landscape is only a brief moment in the long story of the planet. What we see today once had a completely different form, and what now feels familiar will also slowly change, quietly and patiently. There are deserts that were once deep blue oceans. Where there is only sand and wind today, millions of years ago, waves once moved, small creatures once swam, and light once reflected on the water's surface. And there are dense forests that once grew, where now there is only bare ground and dry stone. The earth never keeps a single shape forever. It changes, adapts, moves, like a living body that breathes. Vast glaciers long ago slid quietly across the land, carving deep valleys, forming lakes, smoothing mountains. They moved so slowly that it is hard to imagine. Yet the power of that slowness was more enduring than anything else. No hurry, no noise. The glaciers only needed time, and time shaped the landscapes we see today. Perhaps what brings the greatest sense of peace when thinking about these changes is realizing that everything unfolds in its own rhythm. Most changes in the Earth's history do not happen suddenly. They accumulate, grain by grain, drop by drop, season by season, and slowly, a new landscape appears. In the reflective spirit of Carl Jung, the outer world sometimes mirrors the inner world of the human being. Landscapes shift, move, disappear, and are reborn just like thoughts, emotions, and memories within us. No emotion lasts forever. No sorrow remains unchanged. No joy stays without eventually giving way to another state. The human mind is like a river. Some stretches flow swiftly, others are still. Some memories drift far away, others remain like small stones resting beneath the water. But over time, even those stones become smoother, softer, gentler. Perhaps that is why when we look at ancient landscapes, deep valleys, cliffs, winding rivers, we feel a familiarity that is hard to name, as if we are seeing a part of ourselves, a part that is deep, ancient, and quiet. Each landscape is only a temporary moment in the long history of the planet. Yet that moment is not meaningless. It is the result of everything that came before, and it becomes the foundation for what will come after. A beach today may become land tomorrow. A cliff may turn into sand. A valley may become a lake. Everything is in continuous motion, even if we do not notice. Thinking of this in the stillness of night brings a gentle feeling that nothing is truly fixed. Even the things that seem most certain are slowly changing. And that is not frightening. On the contrary, it brings a deep comfort. Because if everything changes, then the things that worry us today will also change. The thoughts that weigh on the mind will drift away like water passing along the river. The emotions that confuse us will settle like silt sinking to the bottom of a lake after the rain. The earth does not keep one shape, yet it remains the earth. The human mind does not remain in one state, yet we remain ourselves. And within that change, something steady, deep, and quiet endures. Perhaps now you are lying in a familiar space, but imagine that beneath the ground where you are, layers of stone have changed shape over millions of years. Waters once flowed there, winds once passed, forests once grew and disappeared. The ground beneath you is part of a very long story, and you are a small part of that story as well. There is nothing you need to do, nothing more to think about. Just feel the gentle steadiness of the planet supporting you. Feel your breath slowing. Feel your heartbeat steady like a small rhythm, joining the greater rhythm of the world. Landscapes out there are still changing, slowly, softly, far away. Rivers are still finding new paths. Ice is still carving into stone. The sea is still advancing and retreating with the rhythm of time. And while all of that continues, you may allow yourself to rest. Let your thoughts be like clouds drifting across the sky. No need to hold on to them. No need to chase them. Just let them pass. For like the landscapes of the earth, the mind is always changing. And within that change, there is always a quiet place deep inside where everything settles, where movement softens, where you can drift into sleep like a river finding its way to the sea in the peaceful night. If we continue listening to the Earth's story in that stillness, we begin to see that every landscape carries the memory of countless seasons that have passed. A forest today may grow upon what was once an ancient ocean floor. A mountain may once have rested deep beneath the sea. The stones we walk upon each day may once have been dust, mud, fragments drifting through ancient waters. Each layer of earth is like a page written slowly over millions of years. No line written in haste, no chapter skipped, everything preserved in silence, in pressure, in patience. And when we think about this, a gentle calm may arise. The world does not need to hurry. Everything has its own time. Mountains do not rush to grow. Rivers do not rush to reach the sea. Wind does not rush to shape stone. All unfolds little by little, like a long, steady breath. Perhaps that slow rhythm is already moving into your body now. Your breath becomes a little deeper, your shoulders a little lighter. Thoughts grow softer, less sharp, like distant landscapes seen through a thin mist. Imagine standing before a wide valley formed by countless rains, melting ice-shifting rivers. Nothing hurried, nothing forced, only time flowing slowly, deeply, quietly. And in that moment, you too are part of that flow. Your body is changing every day just like the earth. Old cells quietly leave. New ones are formed. Old memories settle. New feelings arise and soften. Everything moves, but in a gentle way. Perhaps that is why nature makes us feel understood. Not through words, but through a deep harmony. Because within us there are slow movements as well. Layers of memory. Changes we barely notice. The earth never stops transforming, yet it always finds its balance. And so does the human mind. Even in moments of confusion or weariness, somewhere deep inside there is always a quiet place. A place you can return to. A place where nothing needs to be done. Nothing needs to be solved. Nothing needs to be understood. Only rest. Only release. Like a landscape slowly fading into night, every outline softens, every movement slows. And when the space is quiet enough, when the mind is soft enough, sleep comes naturally like evening mist gently settling over the land. Part 10. Geology and life deeply intertwined. In the Boy, journey of discovering the earth as a living, breathing presence. There is a deep connection we often do not notice, because it unfolds slowly, quietly, and patiently, the bond between geology and life. The soil beneath our feet is not just a physical surface to walk upon, but a place that holds millions of tiny organisms living, working, transforming, and creating life every day. Those thin layers of earth that seem lifeless are, in truth, a vast world where microorganisms, roots, water, and minerals connect in a slow, patient rhythm, like an ancient song that has never stopped playing. When we look at a forest, we often see only trunks and leaves. But deep beneath the surface, a network of roots and microorganisms quietly exchange nutrients, share signals, hold moisture, hold the soil together, and nourish the entire ecosystem above. Geology does not only form the ground, it shapes how life begins, grows, and spreads. From Carl Gustav Jung's perspective, this connection is like the relationship between the conscious and the unconscious mind. The surface is where we see trees, animals, people, like the thoughts and actions we are aware of each day. But beneath lies a deeper layer, where processes unfold slowly and steadily, like the unconscious, quietly nurturing, adjusting, and balancing the mind. Geology is that deep layer of the earth. It supports life, yet life also changes it little by little. Roots grow into stone and break it into fragments. Microorganisms break down minerals, creating fertile soil. Leaves fall and decay, becoming nourishment. Over thousands of years, life not only adapts to the land, but helps create the very soil itself. Life and geology do not stand apart. They influence each other in a silent cycle. Volcanoes may destroy in a moment, yet their ash enriches the soil, allowing plants to grow stronger. Rivers carry minerals from mountains to plains, feeding fields and forests. Soil and water become the cradle of life, while life reshapes how soil and water move. Roots hold the ground, preventing erosion. Forests hold water, stabilizing climate. Tiny creatures beneath the soil make it soft and fertile. A quiet, enduring cooperation lasting millions of years. If we look a little deeper, we begin to see that the human body itself is the result of the union between geology and life. The minerals in our bones, our blood, and our cells once lay within the earth. The iron in our blood was once part of rock. The calcium in our bones was once part of ancient seas. These elements have traveled through countless cycles before becoming part of a living body. And one day they will return to the soil and continue their journey. Life is not separate from geology. It is simply another phase of matter in motion. In the quiet of night, as we relax and listen, we may feel that slow rhythm, not as a sound, but as a gentle sensation, a sense of being supported. Beneath the ground is a world in silent motion. The life within us is not separate, but part of something much larger. Volcanoes, soil, and water together shape living environments. Where there is water, life begins. Where there is soil, life takes root. Where there are volcanoes, new land is born. All connect like parts of a great body. Seen from afar, the planet might look like a living being, oceans as blood, land as skin, mountains as bones, and life as countless small movements that never cease. Jung once said that within each person there is an ancient part, a deep layer carrying the memory of all history. When we think of the connection between geology and life, we can feel this more clearly. That inside us there is something of the earth, of water, of mountains that existed long before we were born. Perhaps that is why touching the ground, walking barefoot on grass, or smelling the soil after rain brings a peace that is hard to name. It is not only comfort, it is the feeling of returning. Life always relies on the foundation geology creates, yet it also changes that foundation. Just as experiences shape who we are, and we in turn change how we see the world. Everything interacts, influences, moves in a circle without a clear beginning or end. As you listen to these words before sleep, you may notice something gentle. You do not need to hurry. The greatest changes always happen slowly. Just as soil forms grain by grain, just as forests grow day by day, the mind can heal and grow peaceful little by little. Imagine lying on a wide field. Beneath you is soil formed over millions of years. Within it, countless tiny beings live quietly. Roots spread, water seeps downward, minerals move. Everything is active but very slow, very soft, very calm. And then you realize you are part of that calm. Your body is breathing. Your heart is beating. Thoughts are settling. All unfolds naturally, just as the earth continues its work without being reminded. Life and geology are closely bound like two sides of an ancient story. One provides the foundation, one brings movement. One is steady, one is flexible. And in that balance, the world has existed for billions of years. When we understand this, we can loosen our grip a little. No need to hold everything tightly. No need to control everything. Just as soil supports the forest, just as water nourishes life, unseen forces support us every day. Just relax. Just breathe. And let the mind slow down the way earth and life have moved together for a very, very long time. As we continue listening to the story of this deep connection, we begin to feel that the planet is not only a place where we live, but part of our own being. Each step touching the ground connects us with billions of years of history. Each breath carries traces of ancient mountains, distant oceans, forests that once existed and disappeared. Soil, water, air, all hold memory, and in some way they hold the memory of life itself. If we look slowly, we see that soil is not passive. It is where everything begins. In that thin layer, seeds find a place to grow. Roots find somewhere to hold. Microorganisms find space to live. From the smallest beginnings, forests can form. From dust and minerals, entire ecosystems can grow. And over time, life itself reshapes the soil. Leaves fall and become humus. Roots crack stone into earth. Insects turn the soil. A slow, steady cycle like the long breath of the planet. Perhaps that is why touching the earth brings deep calm. Not because it is special, but because it carries the feeling of stability. It was there before we came, and it will remain long after we leave. It does not hurry. It does not worry. It simply exists and supports everything above. Jung said that humans carry ancient symbols within them, deep memories from times we cannot name. Perhaps the peace we feel in nature, in soil and stone, is one of those memories. A part of us recognizes that we belong here, that we are not separate from the natural world. Geology creates the conditions for life, and life slowly changes the planet. Forests hold water and shape climate. Coral reefs formed by tiny organisms become the foundation of oceans. Microorganisms in soil turn minerals into nourishment. Trees create oxygen, food, and shade. A cooperation without words, without plan, yet deeply harmonious. Thinking of this before sleep, we may feel small, yet we also feel connected. That even with worries and pressures, there is a larger world moving slowly, steadily, calmly. A world to which we always belong. Imagine that right now, as you lie still, beneath you is soil formed over millions of years. Beneath that are ancient rocks, cooled lava, seas that once existed and withdrew. All of it remains quietly supporting you. There is nothing to do. Just lie still. Just breathe. Let the feeling spread like a gentle comfort. The planet has always known how to care for life. The soil has always known how to support. Water has always known how to nourish. And you are being supported in that same natural, gentle way. When we understand that geology and life are always intertwined, we also see that everything in life has its time. Soil does not form in a day. Mountains do not rise in a moment. Forests do not grow in a season. Everything needs time. And that slowness creates strength. Perhaps the human mind is the same. Worries will settle. Feelings will change. Thoughts will soften. Like soil after rain. Like forests after storms. Everything finds its balance again. Because deep inside we carry the rhythm of the earth. A rhythm that is slow, steady, and quiet. And as you drift towards sleep, let that feeling remain. The feeling of being supported by an entire planet. Beneath the silence of night, is a world still moving, still holding everything steady, still quietly caring for life. Just close your eyes, relax your body, and let sleep come naturally like a seed resting in the soil, waiting for the moment it is ready to grow. Part 11. Water and Ice. The silent architect's water always begins its story in silence. Not loud, not showy, not hurried. Yet over millions of years, it has become one of the greatest architects of the earth. Rivers slowly wear down stone. Underground drops seep into cracks, widening them into deep caves. Vast glaciers slide across the land, carrying rocks, sand, and the memory of time. All of these movements are so slow we barely notice them. Yet that slowness is the most enduring strength. When we look at a river, we see only the surface reflecting the sky. But beneath water is working. It carries sediment, erodes banks, widens its path, forming gentle curves like the strokes of an invisible hand. Over thousands of years, a river can reshape entire regions. Deep valleys, fertile plains, quiet lakes, all are traces of water's long journey. In Jung's view, water is often a symbol of the unconscious, the deep, soft, mysterious part within each of us. And strangely, in the outer world, water works in a similar way. It does not break things with violence. It changes them through patience, drop by drop by drop, until even stone gives way. Perhaps the human mind works the same way. Thoughts, memories, feelings, repeated over time, gradually shape the inner landscape. Not in a moment, but in a slow, steady flow. And then there is ice, a still form of water, yet carrying unimaginable strength. Vast glaciers once moved slowly across continents, carrying stone and earth, carving deep into the planet's surface. Wide, U-shaped valleys, deep blue lakes, smoothed mountain ranges, all are marks left by ancient ice. But ice does more than shape land. It preserves memory. In the deep ice of the poles, tiny air bubbles have been trapped for hundreds of thousands of years. Those bubbles are the breath of the past. They hold traces of ancient atmospheres, old seasons, times when the Earth warmed and cooled. Ice, in its way, is a quiet diary of the planet. This reminds us of how the human mind holds memory. There are things we no longer clearly remember, yet they remain deep within, like air bubbles preserved in ice. They do not disappear. They simply wait to be understood, or simply to be left in peace. Underground water is a hidden world, flowing beneath the earth through rock and sand, through cracks never touched by light. Over time, it dissolves limestone, creating vast caves with glittering formations. Drop by drop, minerals gather, forming shapes over thousands of years. Standing in a cave, one can feel the slowness of time. Each formation is the result of countless drops. No hurry, no rush, just steady repetition, patient and nearly invisible. Perhaps this is also how change happens within us. Not through grand moments, but through small things repeated each day. A gentle thought, a moment of forgiveness, a moment of letting go. All accumulate, and one day we realize we have changed. Hot springs, underground streams, and hidden waters create strange spaces where water, rock, and heat meet. In those places, life finds a way even without sunlight. Microorganisms live in darkness, sustained by warmth and minerals. It reminds us that life always finds a path, even where we think nothing could exist. And perhaps inside each person there are such hidden springs, quiet sources of energy, places we can return to rest, to recover, to find stillness. When we think of water and ice as silent architects, we begin to feel something gentle. Not all change requires great force. Some change comes through patience, through softness, through simply continuing to flow. Water never forces, it finds a way. If it meets stone, it goes around. If it finds a crack, it slips in. If it is blocked, it waits, and in time it continues. There is a deep lesson there. Sometimes we do not need to try so hard. We only need to continue, to remain soft, to let time do its work. In the quiet night, imagine lying beside a river. The water moves slowly. No loud sound, just a steady rhythm like breathing. A deep, gentle calm, as if the whole world is relaxing with you. Far away, ice still moves slowly. Underground water still flows. Drops still fall in caves, forming new shapes. Everything continues whether we notice or not. And perhaps inside your own mind there are such currents. Thoughts settle, emotions softening, memories drifting slowly. There is nothing you need to do. Just relax. Just let everything flow, like water over stone, like ice moving across the land, like time passing quietly through life. As you lie still with your eyes closed, imagine being supported by deep underground streams, by ancient ice-preserving memory, by patient drops of water shaping beauty in the darkness. All of it is there, silent, slow, enduring, and in that stillness, you may allow yourself to rest, to release unfinished thoughts, to let your mind drift gently like a leaf on calm water. Night is growing softer, the world is slowing, and you too can slow naturally and gently, drifting towards sleep. As we continue listening to the quiet story of water and ice, we begin to see that this slow movement also reflects a deeper rhythm within the human mind. Water never stops, yet it never hurries. It travels long distances, through patience, through steady repetition, through an unseen trust that everything will change in time. Perhaps this is how the mind heals, grows, and becomes peaceful. Think of a river that has flowed through land for thousands of years. At first, it may have been only a small stream slipping through rock. Over time, it widened, deepened, and formed a vast valley. Not through sudden force, but through persistence. Day by day, year by year, century by century, small changes gathering into great transformation. The human mind works in much the same way. Repeated thoughts, remembered feelings, passing emotions, all are currents shaping the inner landscape. Some carve deep valleys from repeated experience, but there are also places where gentleness and rest soften everything again. In the soft light of imagination, picture yourself before a deep cave where water drips from stone. The sound is quiet, steady, like a natural clock measuring time. Each drop carries a trace of mineral, leaving a thin layer. Over thousands of years, these drops form shimmering pillars, tall and beautiful. That is the beauty of patience. The beauty of changes we cannot see in a day, a month, or even a year. But if we step back far enough, we see an entire world formed. Perhaps right now you are in such a process. Small moments in life, gentle thoughts before sleep, quiet pauses you give yourself, all are gathering. And even if you do not notice, they are shaping something deep within. Water never struggles. It does not try to overpower stone. It simply continues to flow. And in time, stone yields. There is comfort in that. You do not need to try so hard. You do not need to solve everything tonight. You do not need to understand everything. You only need to be here, to breathe, to let time do its work. Beneath the surface of the earth, underground waters still move quietly. They nourish trees, fill springs, sustain life. Even unseen, they are always there, supporting everything. Perhaps within each person there is such a hidden spring, a deep, quiet place to return when tired. A place without noise, without hurry. Only peace. As you listen, you may feel your body growing heavier, as if supported by warm water. Shoulders relaxing, breath slowing, thoughts no longer racing. Just as a river finds its path, your mind is finding its natural balance. No effort needed, no force. Just let everything flow. Flow like water, settle like ice. And in that quiet, the earth continues its story. Rivers keep moving, ice keeps holding memory, drops of water keep shaping new forms in the darkness. The world is breathing, very slowly, very gently, and you can breathe with it. Breathe in, as if receiving calm from deep within the earth. Breathe out, as if letting go of everything that still lingers from the day. Once more, and then again. There is nothing left to do, nothing left to think. Only stillness like a quiet lake at night. And in that stillness, you may drift into sleep like a leaf, softly falling onto water and being carried away without purpose, without worry, simply floating along the gentle current of the night. Part 12. Geological Time and Great Events. In the very long flow of geological time, there have been moments when life on Earth seemed to pause, as if the whole planet were taking a deep breath and then resting in a stillness that lasted for millions of years. Great events once occurred quietly yet powerfully, changing the direction of life. Mass extinctions were not only endings but also thresholds, where one chapter closed and another began. When we look back at the traces preserved in stone, we can feel the deep rhythm of a world that is always moving, always changing, and always learning how to begin again. There were times in the distant past when most life on the planet disappeared. Oceans, once full of living creatures, grew quiet. Primeval forests that once covered the land slowly changed. Yet in that silence, life did not completely vanish. It withdrew into hidden places, waited, adapted, and then rose again. If we listen with imagination, we can sense the slow, steady pulse of the planet, like the heart of a giant being asleep, yet never truly still. Stone holds these stories, not in words, but in layers, in colors, in structure. Each sediment layer is a page. Each line is a trace of an age that has passed. Within them are signs of ancient oceans, of climates once warmer, colder, wetter, or drier than today. Tiny fossils resting in rock are like memories stored, waiting to be discovered. When we think about these eras, we begin to see that the Earth's history is not a straight line. It is a series of waves, at times rising, at times falling, at times full of life, at times quiet and still. And through these rhythms, the planet gradually changed its shape, its climate, and the beings that lived upon it. From Carl Jung's perspective, the great events of the planet resemble the great events within a human inner life. There are periods when everything familiar seems to disappear. Old thoughts, old beliefs, old parts of ourselves suddenly feel distant. These may be difficult times, but they are also thresholds of transformation. Just as after an extinction, new species emerge. After a long age of cold, new lands become green again. After each upheaval, life does not return as it was before. It returns in a different way, softer, more flexible, more adaptable. Stone remembers all of this. The changing oceans, the warming and cooling of the climate, the rising and falling of sea levels. All of it is preserved in layers of sediment stacked like the deep memory of the planet. And when we think of these vast eras, millions of years become like a slow breath. Hundreds of millions of years become like a long sleep. The changes humans consider immense suddenly feel small within that scale. Yet this does not make life meaningless. Instead, it makes everything gentler. We begin to see that everything is part of a very long process. Nothing happens in a single moment. Everything takes time. The changes of the planet and the changes of the soul. Perhaps right now, as you listen, you too are in an era of your own, a time of transition. A period when old things are slowly fading and new things have not yet fully appeared. And this is natural, because even the Earth has passed through countless moments like this. The layers of rock deep beneath the ground do not hurry. They gather little by little, slowly, patiently, and that very slowness creates strength. In the stillness of night, as the world outside grows quiet, you may imagine that somewhere deep beneath your feet, layers of stone still rest there, holding within them the memory of ancient oceans, vanished forests and creatures that lived long before humans appeared. That thought brings a very unusual feeling, a sense of being connected to something vast, deep, long-lasting. And in that connection, the mind gradually softens. The worries of today feel lighter. Repeating thoughts slow down like the rhythm of planetary time. You do not need to understand all of that history. Just feel it. Feel that you are standing on a planet that has passed through countless changes yet still continues, still moves, still supports life, and you are part of that flow. a very small part, but a very real one. Notice your breath now, lighter, slower, like a wave slowly retreating from the shore. In this quiet space, imagine yourself lying upon ancient land, with the night sky stretched wide above and time moving very slowly. There is nothing to do, nothing to hurry, only presence, only peace. And just as the planet passed through vast ages to become the place we live today, your mind is also moving through its own layers of time, gently and quietly, little by little. You may allow yourself to rest in that slow current, like a grain of sand resting inside stone, like a dream slowly forming in the gentle darkness of night. And as we look deeper into those layers of rock, we begin to see that each small trace is a whisper of time. Thin sediment layers resting upon one another, gathering over millions of years like memories accumulating in the human mind. No layer appears in haste. No change happens overnight. Everything unfolds slowly, patiently, almost too gently to notice in a single moment. There were times when the Earth grew so cold that ice covered nearly the entire planet. There were also ages when it became so warm that oceans changed, forests disappeared and returned. These changes lasted millions of years, yet life always found a way to adapt. Species vanished, but others appeared. Ecosystems collapsed and new ones slowly formed. Strangely, life never truly disappears. It simply changes shape. It learns new ways to continue. It finds other paths. If we see the planet as a vast mind, then these great events are like deep dreams. Dreams that may be frightening, may be intense, but are also places where new things are born. Jung once said that in the depths of the mind, ancient images always remain, and the earth is the same. Within stone soil and silent fossils are memories from before humans existed. When we think of those long ages, time itself seems to slow. The pressures of the present feel lighter. Rushed thoughts seem less necessary. Because within the scale of the planet, everything has its place. Everything has its time. A mountain needs millions of years to rise. A valley needs millions of years to be shaped by water and wind. A layer of rock needs millions of years to become the memory of an age that has passed. And humans are the same. The mind does not change in a moment. It grows, learns, lets go, and renews over time. There are parts within us that are very ancient, like deep layers of stone. Fears, hopes, feelings, all are traces of a long journey we do not always see. When we understand that the earth has passed through countless upheavals and still continues to exist, we begin to trust that the upheavals in our own lives will also pass. Every change, no matter how large, is only part of a much longer flow. In the quiet of night, that thought brings a sense of safety. As if there is a deep foundation supporting everything. As if beneath all movement and noise there is always a layer of peace. Imagine lying on ancient ground. Beneath your back are layers of rock that have existed for millions of years. Above you is the wide night sky, and in between you are breathing gently, slowly. There is nothing more to think about. Just let yourself drift with that feeling. The feeling of being supported by a planet that has lived through countless ages. A planet that has learned patience, learned change, learned how to begin again. And just like the earth, your mind can rest. It can set down old layers of thought. It can become still like water after the wind has passed. The stories written in stone are not loud. They do not hurry. They simply exist quietly and steadily. And in that quiet, you too can find your own peace. Let your breath slow a little more. Let your body grow heavier, as if the earth itself is holding you. Somewhere deep beneath your feet, time is still flowing. Slowly, gently, without pause. And you are drifting with that rhythm. An ancient rhythm. A gentle rhythm. A rhythm slowly guiding you towards sleep. Part 13. Human Imprints in Modern Geology. When we think of geology, we often imagine things. Very ancient layers of rock formed millions of years ago, mountains raised by the slow collision of continents, or deep oceans that have existed since life first began. All of it feels distant, belonging to a time too vast for human intuition. But if we pause, breathe a little more slowly, and look more closely at the world around us, we may notice something remarkable. Humans themselves are becoming a geological force. Not in the loud way of earthquakes or volcanoes, but in a slow, quiet, and profound way. Roads, buildings, bridges, cities, all are gradually leaving their marks on the surface of the planet. If a being from the distant future were to look back at this age through layers of earth and stone, they might find strange materials, things that never existed before in natural history. Concrete is one such example. Made from stone, sand, water, and fire, the most ancient elements of the earth, yet shaped by human intention. Massive blocks of concrete now spread across the planet, connecting into vast networks. From a geological perspective, perhaps one day concrete will become a kind of new rock, an artificial sediment layer marking human presence in the long history of the Earth. If you imagine millions of years from now, when cities have crumbled and plants grow over old roads, those concrete structures may remain underground, compressed, transformed, becoming part of the rock layers of the future. As if humanity, in its own way, has left a signature in the structure of the earth. Carl Jung once said that humans are not separate from nature. We are part of it, even when we forget. And from this perspective, the materials we create are also part of the planet, born from earth, stone, and fire, and eventually returning to them. But human marks are not only found in concrete. There are things far smaller, almost invisible, spreading everywhere. Microplastics, tiny fragments now appear in soil, in water, even in ice in the most remote places. They drift along rivers, wind, and oceans, quietly gathering in new sediment layers. One day, these particles may become geological markers. Just as scientists today look at layers of ancient volcanic ash to understand eruptions from millions of years ago, future layers containing microplastics may tell the story of the human age. This thought may feel heavy, but if we look deeper, we see it is also part of the journey. The Earth has been shaped by countless forces, asteroids, volcanoes, glaciers, and the arrival of life. Now humanity has become part of that chain of change. Cities themselves are a new kind of landscape. Seen from above, large urban areas resemble networks of nerves spread across the planet's surface. Night lights, roads, buildings, all forming an image never before seen in natural history. Rivers are redirected. Forests become fields. New lands are built from stone and sand. All of these changes are gradually reshaping the Earth's surface. Yet what is interesting is that while humans change the planet also changes humans. Climate, soil, water, air all still shape how we live, think, and feel. We are not outside nature. We are within it, moving with it. From Jung's perspective, this can be seen as an expression of the deep connection between humanity and the world. What we create outwardly reflects what is happening within the collective mind. Cities express a desire for connection. Roads reflect journeys. Structures reveal the wish to endure. And in time, everything will change. Cities may disappear. Roads may be buried. But the traces will remain deep within the layers of earth and stone. This is not frightening. It is simply part of the cycle, part of the long story the earth is telling. Thinking of this in the quiet of night, we may feel a gentle connection. We are living in a small moment within a very long journey. What we do today will become the memory of the planet tomorrow. Perhaps this makes us more humble, softer, as if we realize we are not separate individuals, but part of something much larger. Imagine each step you take, touching soil that has existed for millions of years. And one day that same soil may hold the traces of this age. There is a strange peace in that thought, because it reminds us that everything is connected, everything continues. Nothing truly disappears, it only changes form like the rock layers that have shifted through countless ages. As you lie down, imagine beneath you a breathing planet, a planet holding memories of volcanoes, oceans, forests, and humans too. All of it quietly blending together, all of it becoming part of an endless story. And in this moment, you are part of that story as well. A very small part, yet very real. Just slow your breathing. Let the mind settle. And let that sense of connection gently guide you into calm, where thoughts drift away like layers of earth slowly settling over time. When we look at ancient rock layers, we are seeing the memory of the planet. And when we look at what humans build today, we are witnessing a new memory being formed. Bridges across rivers, roads through mountains, buildings rising toward the sky, all signs of an age the Earth has never known before. Far in the future, when today's civilizations are only faint traces, there may be layers shaped by this era. Pieces of metal, concrete, plastic, glass mixed into sediment, much like fossils we discover today. And perhaps someone will touch those layers and wonder what beings once lived here, thought here, built here, dreamed here. That thought brings a gentle awareness. Our daily lives, though small and ordinary, are part of something far greater. Every step along a road, every structure raised, every changing city is a light touch upon the planet's surface. Yet the Earth does not only receive these marks, it also slowly embraces and transforms them. Wind will carry sand over roads, plants will grow through walls, water will slip into cracks, and over hundreds, thousands of years, everything will return to the soil. The process is slow, so slow that we cannot see it within a lifetime. But that very slowness brings peace, as if the planet is gently holding everything, returning it to the natural cycle. Jung believed that humans carry deep memories within, not only personal, but collective. Perhaps the planet is the same. Each layer of soil, each stratum of rock is a kind of memory, and our era is slowly becoming a new layer of memory. Thinking of this can bring a soft sense of connection, not loud or overwhelming, but as gentle as breath. We live on this planet, walk upon it, build upon it, and one day we too return to it. Nothing is lost. Everything simply changes form. And in that slow movement, there is a deep rhythm. A rhythm like a heartbeat, like breathing, like water flowing through valleys. The planet is alive in its own way. And humans, even when we feel separate, still move within that rhythm. Imagine that beneath noisy cities lie ancient layers of stone resting quietly. Beneath roads lie soils that have existed for ages. And beneath it all, the planet slowly turns, carrying us through space. That thought can gently calm the mind. The worries of the day feel smaller beside the long time of the Earth. Hurry slows, as if we are reminded there is no need to rush. Everything unfolds in its own rhythm, and in this moment, you may allow yourself to rest. Let thoughts settle like dust falling softly. Imagine lying on a warm planet, supported by soil, by stone, by everything that existed long before you arrived. That feeling can bring a sense of safety. And when safety comes, sleep draws closer, as gentle as a night breeze. Part 14. The Earth as a fully connected system. When we see the Earth as a fully connected system, we begin to realize that nothing on this planet exists alone. Every mountain, every river, every wind, every drop of water is part of a great symphony, where each element quietly supports and influences the others. In the stillness before sleep, as the mind slows and thoughts soften, we may imagine the planet as a living body, where even the smallest movement contributes to balance. Mountains do not simply stand as silent masses of stone. They hold back winds, shape rainfall, and influence the climate of entire regions. High ranges gather moisture, creating forests on one side and deserts on the other. And from those peaks, rivers are born, winding through valleys, carrying water, sediment, and life down to the plains. These waters do not just flow. They nourish, build, and quietly redraw the map of the world over time. In a reflective way, we can sense that this connection is like invisible threads linking everything together. The oceans absorb heat from the sun and regulate the planet's temperature, softening extremes. Ocean currents drift slowly, like great veins carrying warmth to cold regions and cool water to warmer places. Because of this, life can exist, adapt, and grow. Each wind that moves across the sea carries moisture, forming clouds, which fall as rain over mountains, forests, and land. And the soil, in its silent patience, holds that water nourishes plants and creates life. The cycle continues endlessly, without command, without instruction, yet in harmony, as if long understood. Listening to this story in a relaxed state, we may feel something familiar. Carl Jung spoke of a deep connection between humans and nature, as if inside each of us remain ancient memories of earth, water, wind, and fire. Perhaps that is why standing by the sea brings peace. Looking at mountains makes us feel small, yet safe. Hearing rain feels like being held. It may not only be emotion. It may be a quiet recognition that we are part of this web. The earth does not work in separate pieces. A small change in one place can quietly reach another far away. A forest disappearing may change a river's path. A river shifting may reshape a plain. And a plain changing may influence climate, seasons, life. Everything is connected, like threads woven into a vast tapestry, of which we see only a small part. But when we slow down and listen, we can feel the presence of the whole. Within this connection, nothing stands alone. Rock needs water to be shaped. Water needs gravity to flow. Gravity needs the planet to exist. And the planet needs the sun for energy. Everything depends on everything else, naturally and gently. Just as in the human soul, feelings, memories, and thoughts are woven together, forming a deep inner world we touch most clearly in quiet moments. Thinking of this, we may no longer feel alone. You are lying here in a quiet room, yet outside there is a whole planet breathing. Rivers are still flowing, mountains still stand, oceans still move. And all of this helps keep the world steady so you can close your eyes in peace. The planet is like a wide embrace. It supports trees, animals, oceans, and us. And when we realize we are part of this system, a gentle calm can begin to spread. There is nothing to do, nothing to fully understand, only to feel that everything is moving, connecting, and supporting each other. Mountains far away may be shaping winds that pass where you live. Waters from distant places may once have been clouds above you. Even your breath now is part of the planet's air. It is all one continuous circle, gentle and unending. And within that circle, you can relax. No need to hold on, no need to control. Just lie still, listen, and let the earth's rhythm guide you toward calm. Like mountains, rivers, and seas, you too are part of this great connection. And in that connection there is a quiet comfort, as if you are being held by the very planet you live upon. As we continue listening to this story of connection, we may imagine each slow movement of the earth as a deep, steady breath. The layers beneath our feet are not as still as they seem. They shift, press, rise, and settle over spans of time too long to feel within a single life. Yet those silent movements create mountains, valleys, and lands people call home. There is something very gentle in realizing that what we see every day, a hill, a road, a small river, is the result of millions of years of change. Nothing appears suddenly. Everything forms through slow accumulation, like a seed growing into a tree, like a small thought becoming part of the soul. Seen deeply, the earth is not just a place to live, but an ongoing story written by time, movement, and endless patience. Rain falling from the sky does more than cool the air. It enters the soil, nourishes roots, becomes streams, then rivers, and returns to the sea. Water rises, becomes clouds, and comes back again. A gentle cycle, unbroken, sustaining life. Even a single drop can begin a long journey through earth, stone, forest, ocean, and sky. Thinking of this brings a deep calm. Nothing is truly still, yet nothing is rushed. Everything changes in its own rhythm, and perhaps the human mind is the same. Feelings, memories, thoughts all move, merge, and settle, like water passing through rough rocks, eventually becoming calm again. The earth is a system where everything affects everything else. A mountain changes the wind. Wind brings rain. Rain feeds forests. Forests hold soil and water, shaping life. Life changes the soil, forming new layers, new shapes. A long chain of quiet connection, as if the planet is gently caring for itself. And as you lie down and close your eyes, you are within that system. The room where you rest is built on soil. That soil was once rock. That rock was once deep within the planet. The air you breathe has traveled across oceans, through forests, across distant places. Everything is connected, and you are a small but real part of that connection. Perhaps that is why thinking of nature feels comforting. Deep inside, we know we are not separate from this world. We belong to it like water belongs to the sea, like wind belongs to the sky. And when we feel this, a gentle sense of safety spreads like an invisible blanket over the mind. The earth is still turning, still changing, still keeping its rhythm. And within that slow rhythm, you can allow yourself to relax a little more. No need to think too much. No need to worry. Just feel that you are supported by a planet that has existed for a very long time and will continue for a very long time. Just as mountains do not rush to grow, just as rivers do not rush to flow, sleep comes naturally when we stop holding on to wakefulness. Let your mind drift with gentle images of earth, water, wind, and sky. Let the quiet connection of the planet slowly guide you into deeper calm. And in that calm you can rest, gently, slowly, as if the earth itself is holding you in a wide and peaceful embrace.